Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Dungeons and Randomness. Thanks for listening to the show. First of all, go check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/DANDR. Several tiers, ways to be able to become part of the community and our DNR family. Check out our Discord. You can find the link on our website or on Patreon. Social media, we're across absolutely everything. Lots of different names, but you'll find us. Twitter, DANDR Podcast. Facebook, we're Dungeons and Randomness. Instagram, the short and simple Dungeons and Randomness Podcast, which I'm surprised that they actually let you have handles that long, but they do on Instagram. But please check us out on iTunes, Podchaser, Teespring, all over the internet. But make sure if you do check us out, leave a review. You can find all of our links on the website, which is dandrpodcast.com. And that's basically it. Welcome to Arc 5.
Let's do that thing where we go around the table to introduce ourselves. I'm Jason. I'm the Dungeon Master. Going around the table, starting with Susan.
Hi, I'm Susan. Should I introduce my character?
No, not yet. You're fine.
Okay, I'm just Susan. Hi, everybody.
Just Susan. Just here to hang out.
No fun question this time, no.
If you could be any tree, what tree would you be?
Maple. Because then I could produce great syrup.
It's a little presumptuous, but okay. Like, that's,
Maple makes great syrup.
But I mean, I think the region depends, like, are you up near, like, the Saskatchewan area? Or are you,
Probably.
Okay.
Because I probably die in Florida, where I currently am.
Like a lot of other people.
Yeah.
And Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex. Thumbs
Tree.
up.
If you could be...
Oh, same question?
No, not the same question. That's very plebeian. We're not going to do it. If you could be any breed of dog, what breed of dog would you be?
I would be probably Corgi, even though they have like knee problems. I mean, I have knee problems. I'm old. But Corgis are beloved throughout the galaxy, I'm assuming. So, it'd be Corgi.
They're also kind of assholes.
And all them
but,
ladies
like,
would be
they get away
touching
with
me.
it, so.
Yeah, because they like descend from like herding dogs, right? They're like a herding type
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah, they're
so
kind of
used to,
yippy.
like,
They're kind of like, you
yeah,
know,
they nip at the heels of like goats and cows and sheep. Like, hey, get fucking line.
I see it. I see it. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would do that.
Jasper.
Hi, I'm Jasper. That's it for now.
Jasper, if you could live in any city in the world, where would you live?
Oh, that's, good question. And I would love to make it be something far afield, but honestly, I truly love New York. I really do. I
Ooh.
never
Wow.
thought in a million years that I would
Bing
ever
bong.
live. Nah, hey, you could bing bong. I'll
Yeah.
bing bong you out.
It's from,
Wow, that's
it's
a
from
New
TikTok.
Yorker.
It's from TikTok. You know about
What's
it's the whole TikTok thing, like the guys on Coney Island or whatever.
I'm telling you though, I never thought that I would ever live in a big city like this, like truly like the big city, right? Moved to New York and I never looked back. It was like a fish in water.
And Brianna.
Hello, I'm Brianna Marie. And that's it.
Oh no, that's not it. Okay. Let's say, for those of you who don't know, Brianna's my partner in running Dungeons and Randomness. Let's say
Just
the
a
company does really well.
yes.
Sorry, I just wanted to linger on that thought for that
Oh, that's
for just a second.
it was
Sorry.
really good.
Mm.
Yeah, like,
Okay.
oh
Good
man. Woo.
Good question.
So,
So far.
good question. Let's say we could offer you a $10,000 bonus to dye your hair a random color.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay.
It cannot be pink or purple.
Oh.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, still yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then there you go. Okay. Guys, once we reach 10,000 on Patreon, then that is where that money's going.
Give me 1,000.
I'd be
Pick
upset
a color
if it
and give me
was
1,000. I'm
but,
fine.
I mean,
Oh,
been
wouldn't
there,
that be
done that.
Oh. Guys, welcome to Arc 5.
Ooh.
Today we're starting out in the city of Overdale. Now, Overdale's had its share of trouble, right? There was a terrible, big racist regime that took over the place years ago. We've kind of gotten a little bit away from that, but not far enough. It's like it's been like 3.5 years. So
Can't relate.
imagine imagine that you're in this city where all this tension, the majority of non-human races were removed or murdered at one point, right? Just culled. And slowly but surely people have, come back, and there's been this the people who have come back, most of them, there's kind of a grassroots campaign to kind of really double and triple down. It's like, this is the dwarf district. This is the, really try and make this place like a second home. And that has caused some of the humans that weren't too crazy about losing their big racist leader really kind of recoil, right? So there's this divide in the city. And you guys have been here for at least 8 weeks training with the White Ravens Academy. It is it's an organization that is just trying to do some good in the world, right? Think of it as kind of a Doctors Without Borders / Red Cross / FEMA type of thing. Like, you guys are sent out into the world with specific missions. It's like, hey, these people here really need some help. We're going to train you for 2 straight months. Just boom, a boot camp of intensive training. And then at the end of it, we're going to send you out into the world, and you're going to do everything in your power to try and help them. And you have spent at least 8 weeks in this city. And this is this is kind of your graduation ceremony. You are being sent out on your very first mission. And the person who is running all of this is Poe Tutillo. He's a guy who's lived in this city a really long time, really close friends with the current queen, and really wanted to kind of give back. And you know a bit about him, right? You know, people talk. There are other students here. You guys are just the first graduating class. So there's lots of rumors about certain things. And I would love to start things off with some random dice rolls to see what rumors you may have heard. Now, I'm going to go around the table and ask each one of you to roll a d20. The higher the roll, the closer to truth we are in this rumor. Like it's like, hey man, this is kind of substantiated. Like I got a little proof. The closer to 1 we get, and it's just wild accusations, right?
So
The
it's
kind of stuff you're
whether
talking about.
they have receipts or it's just tea.
Okay. That let's date this episode. Let's do it. Let's.
Yeah, I dated it 3 years ago.
Honestly, you were trying to get everyone to do the mannequin challenge in the behind the scenes, like you already.
I wanted to be more horror related, but yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying horror related,
Oh, no.
and I
No, I was thinking
It's a
more like
family
the
show.
twins from The Shining. That's what I was going for. That vibe.
Okay. You know what? Let's start with you, Brie. Give me a d20,
Okay.
and we'll see if
Okay, here we go. 18.
18. So one of the first things you're going to hear is that this is not the first time that there have been white ravens sent out into the world, right? This is very much substantiated. There's someone named Sora Greywing who has taught some classes here and kind of helped you guys, kind of like a guest lecturer type of thing. You've even had some practice combats with her, and she's told you horror stories about the time that she was stuck in Lockford and werewolves basically descended upon this town, tore some of her comrades limb from limb, dragged them out into the street and ate them. They were trapped inside an attic, and they were just horrible, horrible stuff. And Sora's the type of person to probably get into it a bit like it's a campfire story, but you guys are just eating lunch, right?
Right.
And then probably towards the end, it's like, well, you guys aren't going anywhere near Lockford. It's fine. Like it's totally fine. But the White Ravens actually started as kind of a guerrilla military group. They were resistance fighters, trying to take down this evil regime. And then once they were gutted, they didn't really have a clear mission anymore. So it kind of became we want to do good. Well, what the hell does that mean? What, how do you do good? Like what, so this is the second attempt to get this program running. Alex, give me a D20.
You got it. 14.
Okay. So a little bit of truth to this one, but there's probably some nuggets of like accusation in there, right? So the rumor is you guys are being sent out to Donhurst, which is a city that's been taken over by vampires, actually. Like you've heard, it's probably like town crier news. Like you've heard a bit about this. Like, man, that sucks to be those guys. Like everybody's been displaced or dead. All the former city residents have, they fled in the middle of the night. Adventurers went in to try and clean up the place. That, there's all kinds of stuff. Like you've heard stories about, 12, 13-foot tall demons infesting every corner of this place, and you don't know what to believe at this point. So between that and the werewolf thing, like as you get closer to that graduation day, it's like, oh, what are they sending us in for?
Cool.
Jasper, give me a D20, please.
Sure thing. Not sure where that die went, but
Oh, way the hell
That's
over
a
there.
Ooh, a
5.
5. Oof.
Okay. One of the more prevailing rumors is that Poe himself is a werewolf. And this is all a ploy to get you onto the east coast of the continent so that he can lure you back to that town with his brethren and eat every single one of you. There does not seem to be any proof of this. This is more of an inquirer story. Like it's like a read all about it, kind of a clickbaity type of town crier story. But yeah, Susan,
Yes, sir.
give me a d20, please.
Sure thing, Mr. J.
God, you guys really throw them out there.
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
No,
Also,
mine didn't go that far.
Can I request that we get rid of this one that landed on a 1 that's
Yeah,
sitting
what is this?
directly in front of us, Jason?
I
None
don't
of
know, man,
us
I like
rolled
that one.
that.
Curse. What is this curse?
But like the table wants it to be, you know? Like
No,
I
it's
don't-
you.
No, no,
keep
no,
it-
You need to get rid of it.
I didn't do anything. I'm going to keep it right here.
Don't
in
you put this on us, Ricky Bobby?
I don't like it there.
Oh no, the frame centered on it.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it like I'm going to keep it right there, just as a reminder. You
I
know,
don't like it.
just in case. Just in case.
It's not tidy.
I'm just gonna get rid of it. I'm just gonna cover it up.
All right. There.
Love it.
So, a 7. A 7 isn't much more substantial.
Mm-mm.
So, you hear that this is all a tax write-off for the city. That the more ravens they can pump out into the world, the more they get to write off your training as like a tax shelter type of thing. So it's like, yeah, just spit them out here. This is a diploma factory, but like get out there and do some shit, and then when you die, we get to collect on all this insurance money we have. Like weird, like what, like. One of those rumors that if you stop and think about it for more than 2 seconds, it's like, that doesn't make any sense. They'd save way more money by not training us. And yeah, so again, this is your graduation day. So you have gotten used to the sight of these barracks now. Day in and day out, you've been, each class basically has their own little barracks. Imagine more like a summer camp than a big army training regiment thing. And you're running obstacle courses every day to kind of get that stamina up. You're being tested in different things. There's specific lessons in lock picking and, wall climbing, stuff like that to get you used to things that you might encounter in the field. And you've been told that within the hour, you're going to be gathered, briefed on your mission, and released into the wild for your first... Your first, like, your actual, this is not a dress rehearsal, this is a full go. So I'd love to pick up with you guys kind of packing up your things. Like it's kind of like a weird bittersweet thing, you know what I mean? Like first of all, going around the table, this is an 8-week situation, but are you guys the type of weirdos who check into a hotel room for 2 days and then unpack all your things and put them in the dressers? Are you those guys?
Could you describe a person without taking a swipe at me, like once?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry if you saw yourself in that description. I can't help that.
We've stayed in hotel
no,
rooms
that's
together
gaslighting.
many
Don't do that.
times.
Don't do that to her. How dare
He
you?
just
How dare
lives
you
out of
gaslight
his
her?
suitcase like an animal.
I mean, I do that too, but I don't detract from other people wanting to use the hotel's accoutrement.
I just think it's weird to settle in, like...
Why? What if you're going to be there for a while?
I mean...
Some roots, man.
I just...
And why is it there? Why are those?
Yeah,
doors
why would they
and-
even put it there?
I mean, like... I'd rather have a working fridge than a dresser.
Okay, well, that just shows me the caliber of
big
hotel
ask.
you stay at.
Well,
always
okay,
get a
well,
fridge.
not all of us can
Shit.
be guests, Alex. Like, if you come to Dragon Con, maybe you'd be a guest. I'm just saying. Anyway,
I had to cancel. Don't remind me, please.
I know. This is the we got you though. So, you guys are packing up, and you're getting your rucksacks ready. These are big, heavy bags that adventurers use. That well, we're playing Cortex Prime now, but in the D&D world, you would have everything from like a food tray to vestments and candles if you're a cleric, all kinds of stuff just jammed in this pack. And if you imagine this thing, it's like 40, 50 pounds. It's huge. So I imagine you're traveling a little lighter because you're not different system, different like setting. We're trying to paint a picture, but while all of you guys are packing up, what's the vibe like? What are you guys feeling? Is it nervous excitement? Are you confident? Are you something else?
I guess nervousness, right, for Kanan, because he's never been this far. He's from the beautiful city of Esterholt, if I remember correctly. I don't remember my backstory. I only wrote down notes. I didn't write the thing down.
Good start. Good.
Perfect.
I know that he hasn't traveled to the northern side of the area, or of the mainland. He's stuck to the Esterholt down south. So coming to Overdale, first and foremost, was a big thing for him. And now being told, hey, you're going to have a mission. Like, get ready. This is kind of putting him on edge, a little bit like, okay, I don't know what to expect. I hope it's not not too crazy of a mission. Even though he has worked with these three or trained with these three for eight weeks, it's still kind of like, I don't fully trust all of their abilities, and I don't trust mine.
Okay, so it's not coming from a place of like, I'm better than you. It's
no. It's just like pure
Imposter syndrome.
hesitancy. Yeah, it's like superior, like massive imposter syndrome. He knows what he's capable of, but he doesn't think it might not be enough, especially if these rumors are true of like, hey, there was another group of ravens. And this is the second time the program has been restarted. Kind of like, well, what the hell happened the first time,
And we got
And you've
very
definitely
accurate
heard stories.
intel on that.
Yeah.
Directly
Yeah.
from
Oh, the
horse's mouth.
werewolves.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, we heard it
Yeah.
from Sora. So then even worse, because he would take Sora's stories and it would be her lessons replaying the whole time, kind of like in The Sandlot forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sora's definitely the type of person that's like, okay, let's say a creature's eating your leg off. What you're going to want to do is sever your own tendon, like get it off there real quick to try and get away. And what, like that kind of like trying to be chipper and helpful, but grisly details that will haunt you.
So with that in mind, I don't know if we're like near bunks or something like that, but Petrichor is going to. I think they probably were pretty close together. He's going to sort of eagerly be putting his stuff together into his pack, whatever, and he's going to, with this kind of a smile on his face, different than Kanan, I think, coming at from a different angle. He's going to turn over and catch his eye, like kind of a little head nod, like, hey, boss, you ready for this?
Kanan grumbles. He's like, please don't call me that. I'm not used to that. Just Kanan is fine. And he looks at his pack. I mean, how ready can you be? We don't know what we're going to be doing yet.
Well, listen, we have a saying in the Silver Glade. You don't have to plant a seed with perfection. You just have to plant the seed. You got to start somewhere.
Oh, he kind of thinks about it. That actually makes a lot of sense. Okay, yeah. Just plant the seed. Just, get ready to do whatever they ask.
We got this. We got this. He's going to continue to get his pack together.
Could you tell me what Kanan looks like?
Yes. He is very lanky, olive complexioned, human male. He wears, I would say, kind of like heavy robes. Like they're obviously just cloth. There's nothing special about them, but they're heavy. And he has like a belt with a buckle for his like a spell book on the side, or like a book of mismatched pieces of paper. You can tell that they've been stuffed in there and attached somehow. And then he has a short sword and a crossbow on his back. Normally, when in the field, he would wear his cowl, but when in the barracks, that section, that part of like the attire isn't on. It's probably still in his pack, so it's just like a gray tunic on top, traveler's pants and boots, and then like the cloak and the other part are probably on the bed next to his rucksack. Like the cowl and cloak section are still just kind of stationed there, and then he has that's the long sleeve tunic, but his sleeves are rolled up, and you can see that he has tattoos on both of his forearms, and they're encompassing all around different. They're all from different origins. Each one, like some people could look at them and see, oh, those are from some of the old gods, and others could see some of them and say, oh, those are from this different section of the world. Like it's meticulously put on his arms. They're from almost like different religions or different cultures, if you could try and identify different ones.
What about Petrichor?
Petrichor is, well, in theory, he's a Vanali, or they're from the Silver Glade. They are, I guess the description has been that it's almost like nature came to life and sort of became sentient in with plants and sort of animal all sort of stuck together, kind of cat-like, plant-like, but more on the, not on the rosemary and thyme and herb side of things, but more on the mushroom and fungi side of things. So it's still, there's still mossiness and some mushroominess and that kind of thing. The Vanali have a head that sort of bifurcates into, not horns exactly, but sort of splits off into two. But it kind of becomes a horn-like area, which end in morels, if you know these type of mushrooms. Also, they have a long tail, and it also sort of ends with this sort of moral mushroom. So there's all kind of fungi type, shelf fungus and all sorts of weirdness, but all of it's sort of wrapped up into a very shamanistic attire with, cloth sort of draped across shoulders and a big staff with wires and gems, all sorts of attached to it. And honestly, very, very meager when it comes to clothing and everything that he's putting into his pack. So that's Petrichor.
So kind of traveling light, just
would be very used to, not just used to traveling light, but it would be odd to travel heavy. Everything's taken care of. Nature takes care of everything, and being from nature and coming from the Silver Glade, taking a lot of stuff that wasn't necessary unless it was mandated as part of this group would feel unnecessary. It would just simply feel like, no, well, I'll pick up what I need along the way.
What about you? The other two in this little barracks here, like I imagine like it's this cozy, again, think summer camp in terms of like it's like heavy wood floors. You can hear people like boom boom, like kind of walking across, like it's very log cabiny. Outside, the door's wide open, you could hear people like being told, it's like, all right, another mile, let's run, that type of thing. Like the new fish are coming in real Shawshank style, except you guys aren't, in prison. So like not that part. But like, you kind of like haze the new kids. So it's their first week. So they're being made to jog around with like big, heavy packs. It's spring. Like it's the first week of spring, but it's still kind of unseasonably cold. So it's good jogging weather.
So I imagine Tamika's sitting on the floor and just haphazardly stuffing stuff into her backpack. Like papers go crumpled in and like vials. There's no organization, just everything's being stuffed in. And then she'll look up and, hey, Runes, could you grab my bedroll from the top bunk, please? Thank you. And still stuffing things in her bag.
As soon as they were told to pack everything up, Runes grabbed a small bag and set it in front of him on his bed, and then sat down on the bed cross-legged and waited. So when he's given a task, he immediately gets up and goes to do it because he has nothing to pack, essentially. Very much like Petrichor, except less because, we live off the land and all of that. He just doesn't have stuff. So...
Oh, so you're not rejecting worldly goods. You just don't have any worldly goods.
Exactly, yeah.
This is really important, but could you tell... I want to find out what you guys look like, but let's start with Runes, because it's pretty important.
So imagine, if you will, as this man stands up, he kind of gets off the bed and he unfurls, and he's this 6 foot tall, lanky, almost creepypasta-like creature, in that like he has these very lithe, muscular limbs that are kind of a Slanesh gray, if anyone knows the kind of a purplish gray.
Did you just quote a Citadel paint as your? Wow. Okay. Warhammer guys, if you want to sponsor an episode of DNR, we're in.
I'll tell you all the colors, baby. I'll give you the shadows. I'll give you the highlights. Let's go. But off of his limbs and chest are these bony protrusions. Protrusions. Yeah. Okay.
You got it. You got it.
So those kind of stick out, and they kind of conform to the shape of his body. And once you reach his head, more of those start to appear, and his entire face is covered with that bone, except for some horns sticking straight out of his head. And the bone shape of his face means that he does not have a nose or mouth, so you'll not hear his voice at all. He doesn't have one. And it's almost shaped in an owl-like silhouette. Like, it has a point down at the chin that comes out and kind of gives his whole face kind of an owly look to it. And he has 2 blue dots in his skull eyes that never blink and that do not move. So when he looks at you, he's always looking at you straight on. He can't turn it's very Batman, you know, when he has the big hat on, he has to move his, like, he can move his neck. Did you just
call it a hat?
Yeah, she called the cowl.
It's a cowl.
Well, goodbye, listeners. Bye, everybody. That's the
Alfred, get me my hat.
I mean, that sounds pretty cool. I mean,
that's as much respect as he gets from me. So yes, he's a very frightening looking figure. He carries a white birch bow staff, and he wears all white, though, because he wants to be welcoming. It just doesn't work. So that's Runes. Did I do good?
You did fantastic, except for hat, but like we'll ignore that part.
I really feel like I tripped at the finish line. Like,
you were doing great. It's like, so everybody out there, that's what a Thaden looks like if you were.
It's not Runes, though, just so you know.
It's not Runes, but like that is the typical Thaden look. So they look very last thing you see before you die, but like that's not who they are. They just happen to, you know. So their entire race is telepathically linked, which is great if you're a Thaden. If you're not a Thaden, your brains weren't meant to do that. So when a Thaden tries to mentally link with another person who isn't part of their race, it at best feels like cold tentacles in your brain. Like it feels like squiggly and weird, and like you kind of get dizzy. At worst, it's blinding pain. So you can lose memories. You can like harsh stuff. The interesting thing is a Thaden, the longer they're linked to somebody, they'll sponge up memories, not steal them, but like they'll just know more things about you. And in their society, everyone knows everything about each other because they're mentally linked all the time. So it's not weird for them to know sexual habits, sleeping habits, what you like to eat. No one's ever alone in Thaden society, which is a huge learning curve when you reach the mainland and you're kind of talking to people like this.
So Runes will hand the knapsack. He's going to reach up and grab the knapsack for Tamika and then lean down and hand it to her. And he has to lean down because, Susan.
Well, yes, because of that, but also at this point, Tamika's leaning underneath the bottom bunk and half her body's not underneath trying to reach for something. And you hear like the sliding of a glass, like a tink as she keeps trying to reach for it. And all you see reaching out is her clawed hand from the bed and one of her feet and a bunch of unruly hair. And then she, got it. And then she comes out and you see this short little woman with a lot of hair, which takes up like 3/4 of her body, but she is only 4'10". She is also a shifter, so she has little wolf ears on the top of her head and very wolfish but also cute features. She almost looks like a wolf pup, not a like a wolf. She has clawed hands, and she has light brown skin, and she has yellow eyes with a slit in them. Um, so she looks sort of intimidating until you get close and see like the cherub-like face, and she's also little.
Man,
and she wears
we are just baiting all those anime boys right now. We're
Yeah.
just, it's
Yeah,
You know
come
what
on
I
in.
just you know what
Yeah.
I would just register to me? Susan, your background is like this dark and dour kind of like thing. And my background is like this pink anime bullshit. I feel like we should swap characters.
nope. We're gonna really elbow into this.
Yeah, we got this. No, I love runes. Let's go.
Yeah. And she wears just typical adventuring, like the knee-high boots, the brown pants and white tunic, but on top of that she has like this oversized robe, like open robe that looks a little big on her, and when she goes to stand up she has to keep like pushing up her sleeves because they cover up her hands. Like it's just too big on her, but it signifies that she does magic. That's why she wears it. Thanks, Runes. Yeah, I'll just put this in my pack. Are you sure you don't have anything else? We really need to get you some stuff, Runes.
He'll look down to his side where he has his satchel and like nod to that, and then nod to the little tiny bag on the bed, and then put out both of his hands like flat and go, and then pull them away. He's trying to communicate, but that's what he does.
Okay.
You've been in the city for 8 weeks, and while you're pretty much kept here, I would imagine you have free weekends and stuff. It's like, hey, yeah, go see the city, have fun, make sure to be back Monday morning, that type of thing. And I guess, what did you guys do for fun while you were in it? Because Overdale's a huge city, right? Like it's got crazy amounts of culture. Some of this stuff has been around for years. These little nooks and crannies that were maybe built by halflings or gnomes. There's like smaller, kind of tighter streets and stuff that just weren't renovated during the whole wartime thing. So children play them and stuff like that, but now it's kind of been reclaimed and retaken. There's whole districts where people are just forging all day, right? There's just the clanging of anvils is so deafening that you kind of hurry past. It's like, oh my god, like that type of thing. So, Alex, get ready, because this is where we need a leader.
Oh no!
Slowly but surely, I think it's kind of, Poe specifically, it's like, okay, you're my guy, I guess. Like, you have the most experience out there. I'm going to need you to kind of show these guys the ropes, because Petrichor is super nice, but a little country bumpkinish. Like, a little, like, it comes from an area where, like it's just Venali. Like they're just same thing with Runes. Runes has got a whole other set of problems, and Tamika's kind of a wild card. So like I think Kanan would be like, it's like, all right, you're my guy. So like, hey, take them out on the town. Get like it's a bonding experience. Go out. So where would you take them?
Well, I would tell them about big cities first, because I just realized now, as you were describing that, I'm the only one out of the four of us that's been in a big city before.
Oh, Tamika's from Brightport.
Oh, and then you're good. Okay,
and
then
so
he would.
Runes, technically, but not
Brightport's
from.
a way grosser city.
I feel like Kanan would lean on Tamika a little more in this instance and be like, look, I need you to be my second pair of eyes when we're running around, because I can't keep track of everybody. And then he'll look behind him and see Petrichor and Runes, and I don't know how people will react to these two just running around or walking around. So, if someone decides to stray off the path, I need you to, and he's going to motion with his hands, gently guide them back to the group.
Don't worry, boss. I'll keep an eye on him. I got this. You
Okay.
can count on me. I'm used to being in the city. I got this.
Good. And he'll think of all right, well, what's a good introduction for these people? And then he'll of course, food. Food is always a great introduction, right? And so, I guess if this happens during the time where we're there, maybe a couple weeks into it,
Yeah.
I assume we've got some time to explore a little bit when we first got into the city. So he'll take them to whichever district has the most, not sought after food, but one that's the most accepting. So probably one of the non-human districts where they serve probably vegetarian, something that's easy to access for all of us, which means specifically aiming towards Petrichor, because I don't know, Kanan has no idea what the fuck he's gonna say.
This is pretty rude.
What
but
does
it's
a
fun.
plant eat?
Yeah, the first thing he thinks is all right, plants, bugs, what would he like? And then he'll have a flashback of them in an early training session where he's eating berries or something, and he'll think, okay, well, I mean,
Berries,
everybody eats
perfect.
those. Yeah. So some place that's got vegetarian-ish food or something that's not aggressive, not a chop house, not a meat chop house. We're not looking for the grills or
Sounds
anything
like it
that.
might be a little elven. Maybe
Yeah, maybe something elvish.
vegetarian.
Yeah.
It's kind of fruity.
It's something light, right? You're not
Mhm.
sitting down to a T-bone, right?
For sure.
So okay, that's a good first it's a bonding exercise, right? It's okay, so where are you from? Where you and then Runes will do some shadow puppets or something, and then we'll give me a flat D20 to see how well this went. Just
Everybody?
this is on Alex. As the leader of Group Ravens.
What? Hey, you know what?
10.
Not bad.
Okay.
Hey.
So service probably wasn't exactly though. It's oh man, this is kind of slow. I guess it gives us more time to talk, that type of thing. The bill was a little larger than you thought it was going to be. It's 15 gold. We had salad. It's what
My
I mean?
My main question is, what did Petrichor eat?
That is a
Alex
good
is
question.
curious.
So Petrichor would have ordered. It would be very mushroom based. So this is a mushroom vinaigrette. It's kind of like a to the unsophisticated, it would simply look like a plate of mushrooms, but it's actually mushrooms that have been marinated in a vinaigrette kind of a thing. It's on top of some really nice type salad, spinachy type stuff.
Okay.
It's going to be a little bit more fruity, and at some point he is going to pick up one of these mushrooms, and he's going to say, we do have a saying in the Silver Glade that the oldest art is a mushroom. And he's going to pop it into his mouth.
That's when Kanan leans over to Mika and says, okay, I guessed good. He eats plants.
And then Tamika's gonna lean over and go, is that considered cannibalism?
Kanan thinks about it and looks at Petrichor and says, well, I mean, he's enjoying it, so I don't want to ruin his fun.
No one tell him.
Petrichor's his whole attitude, no matter, and he'll probably even hear some of this stuff. He's probably very used to it at this point. His whole attitude is kind of just, I'm happy to be here, kind of a thing. So he's just gonna, if he even heard a wind of anything like that, what was the, he'll just kind of smile at it and be like, I get it.
At the mushroom thing, Runes, who by the way has a plate in front of him, but
Oh,
No.
yeah.
This is where I feel like this is where I learned. This is where I learned that Runes doesn't eat.
This is why the 10 is there.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe Tamika ordered a to-go box or to-go bag.
oh,
for
that's smart.
Runes.
Yeah, maybe a to-go because he won't eat in front of people. But you will see him take his weird, long, creepy fingers and go into his bag, and there'll be a bit of a click, click, clack sound for a second, and then he is going to hand Petrichor a rock. 1 second, I need to remember the color. Blue. This one's the blue one, and it says, "Please explain." Like it's
So
carved
petrichor-
into the rock. And
Right.
when you say the mushroom thing, you get that rock.
Right. The oldest art is a mushroom, and then I get the rock. Oh, okay. All right. Yep. And you're whispering over there, and you say, all right. Yeah. Okay. No. Yeah. No. It's a rough translation. What it ultimately means is it's hard to explain how this gets translated, but it means we're only here for an instant. It means that the oldest art is a mushroom. We got to make the most of what we got right now. That's what this means. It might not make complete sense from a language point of view, but that's kind of the point. And he's going to hand that back.
Okay. And he will nod and then put his hand on his chest and bow his head, which is probably at this, like, there's shorthand, right? Like shake your head. Like that's just thank you, generally
Yep.
speaking.
Petrichor, I'm used to doing it. He probably just does exactly the same thing back at
Yeah.
this point.
And then I'll put his rock back in. So
For those out there wondering, there is a Therian equivalent of sign language, but
James doesn't know it.
yeah, Runes is. You said so. You were okay. You've been to Brightport, but much like a tourist has been to New York, it's like, yeah, I've seen Times Square. It's like, yeah,
Exactly.
okay, but like,
Except for more like if someone went to New York not knowing what New York was, ended up in a bad place, and then a small wolf girl just grabbed them and saved them. Kind of more like
I've
that.
seen-
New York.
I've seen that anime. I've watched that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so you've been on the subway.
We're currently in talks with Netflix.
Yes.
Be a great show. I'd watch it.
I watched it too.
They don't say no to anything, so we got this.
Oh man. So is there a point where Runes does eat that night?
No.
No? Okay.
Probably. And then if we're alone later and it's just him and Tamika, he might, but he will not eat. He will not imbibe in front of new people that easily. Like there's got to be some trust there.
So let's say after you guys get back, you have this wonderful little, maybe you have a few drinks, whatever. You're loosened up. You're 2 weeks into this thing. You kind of know what to expect. You get all that first week of soreness out. It's like, okay, this is going pretty well. You guys are okay. I didn't get paired up with a bunch of weirdos. I mean, you're looking around the room. I mean,
They get paired with a bunch of weirdos.
look, Theria has a completely different bar for weird. Like, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Like, as this unblinking bone man with the bright red tiny dot eyes is just staring.
Blue.
No, they're
Sorry,
blue.
Blue. My
I
bad.
specified.
I'm so sorry. But
Like an icy blue. Very creepy.
could you? Yeah, that's what makes it creepy. The color. Could you describe what eating is like for Runes?
So, anyone who's familiar with Thetans, this is probably one of the first things you learn about Thetans. Like, when you're learning about a new species, there's the fun facts everyone gives you. Thetans, when they eat, kind of have their entire chest and neck area, like, open up. And correct me if I'm wrong about any of this, Jason. I'm just remembering. So all of their organs are kind of exposed in that moment, which is why you don't do it in front of people, because you're completely vulnerable. But then you just take whatever food you wanted and just go bleh, and then it closes up, and then
Yeah.
you eat.
There's almost like it almost looks like a spinal column in front, but it's teeth,
Yeah.
and it kind of gnashes. And while you're kind of absorbing that, the body shuts down while
Yeah,
it's
it
doing
just-
its work.
it's
Like you're
limp.
just So in Thetan society, they kind of eat in shifts. Like you're completely vulnerable, but it's fine because we're all it's fine. We're
We're all bros. We got this.
we're fine.
Yeah, we're safe. Yeah.
So
Look, these other 700 people know I'm eating. They'll watch
Yeah.
my back for a second while I go about it.
a Thetan on their own, it's much more dangerous, right? Because you could
Mhm.
take a pencil and go dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's very like
Right. Like you see his like beating black heart. I don't know what color their hearts are. It just felt right to be black.
if they weren't off-putting enough, it's so it's like, oh my god, because it's their fucking body cavities. Like,
And
it's
I
kind
don't
of-
know
yeah.
if Kenan, sorry,
Kenan.
I'm working on it. Kenan, or Petrichor know that fact about Thetans or not, but at this point, Tamika would, because they traveled together for a really long time, and she's probably the one who's been watching him during training when he eats.
I like to think there's at least one point every day where Tamika and Runes just go, "Hey, we'll be right back."
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
That makes
Well, I
sense.
think wasn't it he only needs to eat like every 4 days or something? Wasn't that the
Kind of.
what
It's
was
not.
it? It's like a snake. It's like
yeah. It's like you get like 2.5, 3 days. 3 days you get the tummy grumbles. And then like it's like, man, I gotta eat. But
you get
they-
those spiny grumbles.
I picture real like 80s practical effects type thing, right? You know, part Predator's mouth
Yes.
opening, part
I could see it in my head.
I could
that
see
it.
day,
So good.
Like
again, Netflix.
That's when you sold me on the fans. I was
Yeah.
like, yep, gonna play one of those fuckers.
Yeah, they're just very off-putting. So the day of graduation, you guys are packed up, you're ready to go, and you're going to hear another set of footsteps as Poe comes in, and there's going to be a beat while he's like taking a look around. Everybody packed up? Are you guys excited?
Do I gotta salute him?
No, that shit would have like the first time you did. It's like no, don't do that. Like,
Ew.
yeah, no, he's technically he has a rank, and he's like, no, don't do that.
Okay, then Kenan he turns around, sees him, and nods. I think he looks around. I assume everyone's finishing packing their bags, so he'll, talk to Poe and say, "Yep, I think we're ready to go." It seems everyone's got their gear and just waiting for the assignment, I guess.
My iPad wouldn't turn on. There we go. He's going to kind of have a seat at the foot of one of these beds, so he's got to kind of lean forward because like they're bunk beds, so like you don't want and it's almost going to be like, okay, gather in, gang, that type of thing.
I gotta stop. As soon as he sits down, Petrichor's dog is going to jump up on the bed and kind of jump up on him in a playful way.
Aw.
This would be super common, I would imagine.
Oh, Poe knows this dog very well. This will not be, unless Poe hates dogs,
No.
it won't be out of nowhere. It'll be like, oh, hey, how's it going?
What's the dog look like?
The dog is a Therian sheep, and this is a dog that, as you know, as the story will end up maybe unfolding at some point, but Petrichor traveling from the Silverglade all the way over into this area of Theria on the mainland, woke up one morning, and a few feet away there was this dog. And from that point forward, they were inseparable. And so this dog has just been there and has been there throughout all of this training as well. And basically just never leaves Petrichor's side, and Petrichor never leaves the dog's side.
Very nice.
So for those of you who don't know, a sheep in Theria is basically half Shiba Inu, half sheep. So picture a sheep that's big and floofy, and their fur is used for sweaters, and they shed like fucking crazy. Like it is like that when it shakes off, it's kind of this plume, almost like dandelion seeds or something like that. Just like like yeah.
So there are two things. There's a saddlebags, tiny little dog saddlebags that's been packed already. And also a collar made out of twigs and leaves that at some point Petrichor has made and put together for this dog.
I like that it sounds like the dog's packing more than you are. Like it
Pretty much. It's mostly for the dog. It's like treats and stuff.
yeah.
Chew toys.
So kind of like Poe sits down and apps it with like fucking sheep head up here. It's like, okay, that type of thing. And he's going to get serious for a minute. All right. 8 weeks, guys. I know this has been intense. We've taught you everything that we thought would be relevant out in the field. And I'll tell you right now, it's not enough. There's going to be things that you're going to run across that we couldn't possibly prep you for. That being said, we are incredibly confident in your abilities. You've shown a great aptitude in working as a team. You've mentally, I think all of you can handle this. And we're going to be sending you to the city of Donhurst. Now, you probably heard a couple months back, the place was the site of a demon attack, taken over and abandoned. This street gang moved in, and it turned out that they were all turned into vampires. It was a mess. It's still a mess. That's why you're going there, but it's not quite as bad as it was. Their leader was killed off, and their new leader is the original leader of this gang. Pretty dumb guy from what I've heard. His name's Ripley. But he's ready to negotiate the surrender of the city. And we need you to prep everything and get the terms laid out. But that's not quite it. The reason he's so malleable right now is that there's definitely something underneath that city, and it's demonic in nature. Now, there's no way of us to know exactly what's under there, but we have prepped some things for you. We've got the best minds that we could in the city on this, and he's gonna kind of hand over this care package of stuff, like another satchel packed. There's a huge book in there just about demons. It's an A to Z. If it's not in there, we didn't know it. So please be sure to just browse through that anytime that you're stumped or you think that it can help you. There's a couple of vials of holy water. We're not exactly sure if that's going to be effective against what's there, but we figured it couldn't hurt. There's one more thing. If you get into trouble at any point, first of all, back off. There's always going to be another day to fight. You don't have to be the last line of defense all the time. Use your best judgment on this. But if you get into a scrape and you don't think you're going to get out of it, there's a scroll that we'd like you to use. It will send out this spiritual raven-looking thing, almost like a signal flare. And any of us that are in range that can see it, it's quite a few miles. They'll head in your direction right away, and we'll do everything we can to back you up. You have any questions?
Kinan takes the book and the vials of holy water and the scroll, and then he'll give the scroll to Petrichor and tell him, just give him kind of a look like, not like this is your responsibility. He looks at the book and then looks at Tamika, and he kind of winces a little bit, kind of squints. Are you big into books?
As she situates a book on her belt. Yes.
Okay, and then he gives her the book. How many vials of holy water are there?
2.
2.
They're pretty big, though. They're like flasks, basically.
Okay, then he hands one to Runes, as his bag is empty, gives him one, and says...
He's got room.
And he looks at him and says, when we fight the scary-looking baddies, the demons, or if we see any.
And he'll take the thing and put it down, and then he'll bring both of his fingers up to his face like little fangs. Like, is that right? Like these ones?
He'll like tilt his head, like Kinan tilts his head, like nodding. Yeah, they count too. And he puts his hands up, but only if they attack us first.
Thumbs up.
Okay, cool.
When I was telling you that they're flasks, for some reason, the measurement that I almost gave you was, like a bottle of Mad Dog 2020. I don't know why.
Mad
You thirsty.
dog
You
talk.
thirsty.
He hands it to you in a brown paper bag, like he's just...
There you go. Yeah, there's two.
There's some holy
Two of 'em.
water.
Yeah.
Two of them.
Okay, I looked it up. I see a picture of it. I've still never seen this before in my life.
You don't.
Yeah.
That's because
Yeah.
you never got your check cashed in a liquor store, Bree. That's why.
Correct. Oh my god.
It looks kind of yummy, but I'm betting it's not.
It isn't.
No.
I
No.
assure you, it is not.
No.
It's not meant to be. It's not meant to be. I mean,
No,
that's for
it's
sure.
meant to get
Like-
you there.
Here's the thing, like usually when it comes to alcohol, the brighter the color, the less it tastes like alcohol. I feel like this is the opposite of that somehow.
No.
I mean,
You could pour
Malt
this into a
liquor.
Zippo and it would light a cigarette. Like, it is
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
yeah.
You could fill up your rubbing alcohol with it, and I do the same job.
Oh,
I'm
jeez.
pretty sure you can pour it into the gas tank of your car and get better miles to the gallon. Shout out to Mad Dog 2020.
Sponsor,
You wanna
sponsors of
sponsor
today's.
us?
They're still kicking. They've been around for a long time, man. You know,
Because
Good for them.
who's gonna muscle in on that turf? Like,
Mickey's.
oh,
Petricor's going to point over at that other flask and say, "Boss, I got an idea real quick. You mind?" He's going to reach out for it.
Yeah, he'll give it to him. Yeah, sure.
He's going to put it right into one of the saddlebags on the dog. Say, he's going to reach back and he's going to pat Kanan on the shoulder, and he's going to say, "That's going to help us out. Mark my words. Mark my words."
I mean, he looks at the dog. Looks back at Petricor. As long as he doesn't break it or drink it or anything, I think, yeah, should be fine.
Petricor's going to look at the dog. We good? All right. No, we're all good.
I imagine this dog is not built for indoors where it's warm. So it's just like,
Oh.
like just big. Yeah. It's just kind of inching toward the door where there's a cool breeze. It's like, oh, like these are field animals. And like, it's got saddlebags on. Oh. There's one more thing. When you get to Durn Hollow, it's on the way. It's the second town you'll probably visit. We've arranged for them to put you up there free of charge, and they're going to re-outfit you too. There's a couple of people there that owe us some favors. So they'll give you something in the way of weapons, armor, something that can aid you. There's a salesman in town. His name's Irving. Try to avoid him. He's annoying. But he's a nice guy. He gave me some free gift for your graduation day. And try to keep it down because not everybody's getting something like this. But it's in this mystery box, so please have at it. I would probably take a look at it sooner rather than later, but I wish you all the luck in the world. You're gonna do great out there, so good luck.
Kenan shakes Poe's hand, if he can.
Mhm.
And while he has his hand in his clasp, like while they're shaking hands, he says, "Hey," and he looks at the group. "I'm just going to ask this. What happened before us?"
You're still gripping his hand while you're
Yeah,
asking.
yeah, still holding it. Yeah, I heard things about. One of the instructors told us about a small town. Well, I forget its name, Lockford, and werewolves.
He's the expression just drops on his face, right? Yeah. Some of the rumors you probably heard are exaggerated, but the gist of it is we made mistakes. We sent people out in the field who weren't ready, and that's why we're doing things so different this time. We want to make sure that everyone's on the same page, that people can work well as a team, and you've all proven that beyond the shadow of a doubt. Try not to think about mistakes I've made in the past, because what we're trying to do is learn from that and move forward. Though I would avoid Lockford if you can. Just just for safety's sake. You know, there hasn't been anything there in a long time, but why tempt fate? Just leave it alone.
I mean, it's south. I'm looking on the map, so I don't
Right.
think we need to go there. And then
You
before
need
he
to
leaves,
take a detour.
before Poe leaves, after he lets go of his hand, Kenon's gonna take a piece of silver out of his pouch and say, one more thing.
What?
And he's gonna like put the coin like up against, I would say like maybe his cheek. He just puts the silver coin on his cheek for a second, and then takes it back.
And then Tamika goes, "Boss, he already disproved it. He told us to stay away from Lockfoot. The rumor was that he wanted us to go there."
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Just the detail of it being that he was one of I'm sorry, Poe. He puts the coin back. I'm sorry. I just had to.
You're not a werewolf, are you?
There's gonna
You're
be
not a werewolf.
It's like, are
right?
they still saying I'm a fucking werewolf? Like, I'm not a werewolf. Like, I've proven this before. Like, I'll take a test. Like,
Kenon puts his hands up. Look, when you eat in the same lunchroom for 8 weeks and everyone's got the same story rolling around, it's hard to not believe it after a while. But I'm glad to know with this, and he points to his money pouch, that we're good. Okay.
And I told you he doesn't smell like one, so
Oh.
you're good.
Okay.
you're probably gonna like an awkward thank you, and then probably just leave. Like, I'm gonna go now before this gets weirder.
Petrichor's gonna grab before he leaves. He's gonna grab him and give him just a big old hug, just a big hug. He's gonna say, "Remember what I told you on the road? You remember what I told you when we met?" I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, no.
You don't remember that?
Yeah, it was something about mushrooms being art.
No.
Like you were no.
No. Well, I say that one a lot.
You-
No, live the path or hide your truth. That's what we talked about, and that's what we're doing. And I appreciate that. It's only because of you that this is happening. So thank you. And he's going to
You
pat
can
him on the
already
shoulder.
hear the clacking in the bag. Like, he's reaching for the exact same rock.
I
Blue
just
one.
picture a lot of his sayings involve mushrooms. Like it's like, yeah, you said
Some
something.
do. Some do.
But
But
it's
it's gonna
like
be
a
very heartfelt.
Portobello somehow, like you said.
Sure.
Like you, what's his texture like? What's Petrichor's like? Is he kind of brambly? Is he soft? Does he have fur? Like what's the situation there?
He
What's
is.
the hug situation?
He is. If you can imagine. So forget sticks and bark. Think more moss, but not hairy moss, but like I can't remember. I don't know what you call. I don't know a lot of
Oh,
these
like
things.
that soft moss that people put on their walls now.
Yes,
Mm.
or we
Because
actually
we're in the future. and
somebody,
that's a thing.
somebody gave the
We're
kids
in the
a
future.
couple of they call them Japanese moss balls. I don't know if they are Japanese moss
Yeah.
balls,
Mm.
but they're small little balls of moss that live in
Sure.
water and they grow. It's soft. It's really nice, but also, and if you. I know you've never done this, but if you can imagine this, I bet it will make sense. If you pick up a big mushroom and you were to go boom, 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 boom,
Sure,
on it,
sure.
do you know what I mean? That
1,000% done
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
but that feeling of like rubberiness, but organicness.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of it.
Or
Yep.
like an unpopped stink bomb also kind of has that
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like
There's a little bit of yeah.
little give.
There's a little bit of give
Yeah.
to it. It's a little bit of rubberiness, but it doesn't feel false. It feels very natural, and a little bit of that soft moss onto it. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, not an uncomfortable hug. So yeah, just
He would be texture wise. He would be a very good
Does he
hugger.
smell like soft moss and grass?
Yes, he smells as
Whoa.
close to a very yes, yeah. He smells very
Honestly,
much.
husband goals.
When after it rains and that smell, that's what you get when you get near him.
Wow.
how moist is Petrichor?
Damn.
Not very. The moisture's caught up in the in all of the bits and pieces and
The
the
circulatory
and the
system
mushrooms that are
and
sort of
things.
growing on his shoulder and that sort of thing.
Innards.
So no,
The
he's not
innards.
moist at all. Not at all.
That's good.
Nice.
Well,
Like on a scale of 1 to Pippin, how moist?
I hope you're all enjoying today's show, but we need to take a quick break to talk about our sponsor, Manscaped. Now, cards on the table. I'm going to be brutally honest here. They were not pleased with my ad a few weeks ago. Not the ad. They approved the ad. But we just didn't sell enough trimmers. In fact, I think we sold two. I think we sold two, which is below their expectations. So here's what I'm going to do. I told them we would do an ad for free today on the stream. And I did so because I actually really enjoy their product. I'm not into the whole shave your balls type of thing. There's a bunch of ad copy they sent. I'm just going to tell you this. I use their product. It's fantastic. If you're a guy out there and you actually like take care of yourself, you are probably no stranger to getting nicks and cuts and stuff on your hang dangles, on your undercarriage, and it is not a pleasant feeling. So this is a fantastic trimmer because there's actually a guard on it that helps prevent stuff like that from happening. I haven't got a nick yet, honestly. They also make a fantastic nose trimmer and a bunch of stuff. I got their 4.0 package in the mail. It is wonderful. It came with a bunch of different lotions and colognes and stuff. And honestly, I highly suggest you give them a try. It's one of those little quality of life things that it's really nice to have, and it's pretty damn affordable. If you go to the Manscaped site right now, there'll be a link in the chat right as you're watching this, and you enter the code randomness, guess what? You get 20% off of your order and free shipping. There's plenty of time to get that done before Valentine's Day. And honestly, you're going to kind of be glad that you have it. It's just a really nice thing to use when you need to, and you don't have to use an actual regular electric trimmer, and you can kind of keep your face trimmer away from your Manscaped trimmer. But yeah, it also works for your face too, if you don't give a shit. So thank you all so much. Go check them out. Tell them we sent you. Use the code Manscaped, and hopefully they'll be more pleased with this ad. Guys, it's time to get started.
What about the box?
Do you want to look in the box?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
he
mystery
said to
box.
do it
right?
as soon as
Campfire
possible.
that? Let's campfire that.
You want a campfire? So here's what I need. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do something a little different this arc. Now, traditionally, guys, I ask everybody to give me a flat D20, right? Just generally, how's the day treating them? Travel, what's the weather like? That type of thing. The higher the die roll, the better. The lower the die roll, So what we're going to be doing is something close to that. But first, I'd like to get you through that first day. Like you're moving north along the road. You're still well within city limits, and you break for the day in White Wolf Valley, which is this huge open area. It was home to the largest battle of the war, right? There's still, bits and craters and stuff like that. If you look all the way to the west, there's this streak of burnt, charred land that leads into where a third of the evergreen forest used to be. It's just gone. Like, Dragonfire wrecked all this. But that evening, I would imagine you guys you got your campfire going. It's been a pretty chilly day, and as the sun sets, it's getting a little cold. What are you guys eating today? Are you living off rations? Are you hunting? What are you doing here?
I think Kanan would be okay with the rations, but he would pull the group when they get camp set up.
Mm-hmm.
So he would just nonchalantly, as they're setting up their I guess tents or whatever we're setting up, right? Like if he's starting the fire, whoever's next to him is going to ask them hey, well, what are you thinking for tonight? You hungry? Whoever was around, and then he would except for Runes, he knows that if Rune, he hasn't seen Runes eat, but he knows this guy has to eat sometime. But I don't want to pry
Something
it.
is keeping this alive.
Yeah, I don't want to pry
I don't
into whatever he's
understand it.
doing. He's surviving. I'm not going to pry into it.
Mhm.
Is it
So probably-
at this point? Is it do your people eat, or is it basically what would your first thought be? It's oh, do you just not eat often, or you got something weird going on there, right? What would
He would Kanan would probably believe that Runes eats through other means than, because they don't have a mouth, right? It's blank. Yeah.
It's
So he would
complete
guess that they
skull.
eat just by deduction, that they eat in some other manner that they don't want us seeing, that Runes doesn't want us seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to respect his privacy and be like, all right, this guy doesn't want to share it with us, obviously. And I don't want to know. Honestly, I don't want to know because it's probably something gross or something. His imagination gets the best of him.
See, now everyone thinks Runes eats with his
Yeah.
butt, and that's not fair.
He hasn't seen it. He doesn't know. Whatever it is, it's working. So he's going to leave Runes alone and probably ask Tamika and Petrichor if they're around. Like, what are you guys thinking as he's getting the fire ready?
Well, I mean, we got what we've got. Well, we're going to be on the road for a little bit. Let's just eat what we've got. I tell you what, I'm going to augment that. I'll be right back. And he's going to travel off a little bit far afield and probably come back with a few berries and some different types of leaves or something like that. Probably some mint or something, and just to make something a little bit nicer, rather than just rations. Plus it up a little bit.
Oh,
Nothing
very
too
nice.
fancy.
And when you went to go ask,
Oh, no, you go ahead.
okay, I was just gonna real quick. And when you went to go ask Tamika, jerky was already hanging out of her mouth.
Okay, good to know.
What ration?
Good to know. Yeah.
I'm done.
Does she? Okay.
I ate that.
Does she eat like a Pippin too? Like it's like kind of like gnawing at it, like a pig ear or something.
I think she is a little wolfish when eating, like really like bites.
I imagined, I saw it in my head. You had the jerky and then the one.
Yeah,
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
for sure. So, as Petrichor is getting dinner ready, Runes is going to give Tamika's arm a little tug and maybe like kind of lead her away a little bit. And what he's going to do, I don't know if she says anything to him at first. She's very talkative. So.
Oh yeah, I'll follow you. Let's go. Takes another bite of jerky.
He will hand you the blue rock that says "Please explain," but then he's going to point to Petrichor and Kinan, and then point to the spine on his chest, and then point to the rock again.
Oh, please. Oh! You want me to tell them how you eat?
Yeah, and he'll nod.
Are you sure?
I mean, we're all traveling together, so he's gonna have to eat in front of them eventually.
All right. I'll tell him as long as you're okay with it. And do you want to eat tonight too?
And he'll nod. Like it takes him a second, and then he'll nod.
Oh, okay. I'm sure they'll be cool with it. I mean, it took a little bit to get used to, but it's just you. It's just what you do. There's nothing wrong with you, Runes. So let's go tell him.
Aww. He's gonna give her a hug when she says there's nothing wrong with him. Like, yay.
Tamika will hug him back.
I imagine he's actually like much more clingy than you'd expect from a creature that looks that way. Just like he's always been around people like who he was talking to all the time, and now he feels kind of disconnected. So like he's a cuddle bug.
Aww. And Tamika comes from a big family, so she's used to cuddling all the time. So probably this works out for them.
Oh man, he's gonna be your little backpack when you sleep.
So walking back to camp, hey guys, Runes wants me to tell you something about him.
Oh.
I'm sure you've noticed when we go out to eat, I get it to go box for Runes, and then it disappears, and we disappear somewhere, and then we come back, and the food's gone. Runes eats a little differently, as you can see. There's like no mouth. I can't put this delicately, so I'm just gonna say it. His middle opens vertically, and he stuffs the food in there, and you see everything in there, and there's teeth. But it's cool. It's just Runes.
But it's cool.
It's cool.
It's cool.
He takes a second as I assume the fire's going now. He's sitting like on some sort of stump or something, a log that's been turned.
Yeah.
And he kind of nods. Okay, so he looks to Runes. Runes, I thank you for sharing, both of you. If we're going to be a team, it's very important that we know things like that. Survive things that'll keep us alive. I assume, based off the fact that you need Tamika with you, that you're in somewhat of a vulnerable state when you do this, or you don't have control, or there's some reason you need someone else there with you. Am I right?
He'll nod.
Okay. Well, Runes, I mean, we can look out for you when you eat now. I've seen, not to say that it's probably a horrible thing, but I've seen plenty of things in my life that are probably worse than the insides that you got in there. So if you need an extra pair of eyes to watch over you when you eat, I'd gladly help.
And he'll do the little thank you sign.
I have it on good authority that it's cool. So
It's cool.
Yeah. I've been told that it's cool.
I've been told it's cool. It's just runes, from what I understand.
All of this happened as Petrichor had come back, having foraged for some, different types of mushrooms and whatever. And he's probably holding a bunch of stuff when all this came up. So he's going to look down at his hands and sort of drop it wherever it's needed to sort of to make food. And we got you, big guy. We got you, big guy. Question. He's going to pick one of those up. He's going to say, "Do you like these?"
You set him up so well, because he's going to reach into his little clicky clacks. And he's going to take out a light pink rock. And it says, "I like this" on it.
Great.
Aw.
And he'll hand it.
So Petrichor's going to take it. He's going to sort of flick it like he's flipping a quarter. And he's going to land it back in his hand and toss it back. And he's going to say, "I'll be right back." And then he's going to say, "Come on, dog." And then they're going to head back off and go get a bunch more, basically.
So this dog has no name, right? Like,
The dog.
it's just dog.
He's only ever called it a dog or talked about it like a dog.
I love that.
This dog's so happy, by the way. It's so
Come on,
cold
dog.
out. It's like, yes, this is great.
This is my environment.
The second that saddlebag comes off, it's gonna
Oh,
roll around.
yeah.
Oh, that's as soon as we get to a
smell.
camp, like it's the saddleback comes off. Like, that's the first thing that happens anyway.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he's gone off to go find, basically, like, now he's got a mission to find more and more and more, because that doesn't sound like, oh, Runes needs a little snacks every once in a while. It's like, oh, so you open up your body and eat. I think we're going to need a little bit more than rations right now, and he'll be back in a minute.
And that's fair. That's
Yeah.
good assumption.
And that might take a little bit of time, but he'll come back with a load of whatever he can find. Like I said, it'll be a lot of mushroomy stuff, basically.
Before,
Now
Yeah, now I want
So,
mushrooms too.
you know.
I love
Yeah, same,
mushrooms.
same.
that's the problem. Whenever we sit down to eat, I'm not a vegetable guy, but you describe food, and I'm just sitting here. It's like, fuck, man, I need dinner. Like, I'm hungry, and this sucks. Before we get to eating, you guys want to do mystery box?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do a little
Mystery
mystery
box.
box. Okay.
Yes.
I need one of you to roll a d20. We've called on Alex a lot.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot. I don't want to do it
I think
anymore.
no. I think it's time for someone else to volunteer here. But you give me a d20. The higher the roll, the more like valuable and helpful and effective this mystery thing is going to be. The lower the roll, we'll see. Bree.
Just playing around, because we're all new to
Sure.
Cortex. Runes only has one value currently, because I wanted to add some as we went. His only value is curiosity. So if he were the one to open the mystery box, could I add his D8 curiosity to the roll?
Not to the roll, but I'll tell you what. Whatever the item is, I'm going to give Runes a bonus to using it.
Oh, nice.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, we're going to get into the ins and outs of Cortex soon enough, but
And
yeah.
that's we're just experimenting.
Most
I
of
just
this is
threw it out
character
there.
building stuff. But do me a favor, give me a flat d20
Yeah.
here. Let's see what...
Okay, here we go. Woo! Off it goes.
That's
Wow. 17!
Yeah.
Yay!
So you're going to pull out a gun. And this is no.
Whoa.
Wow!
just gotta
Look
go
at this, guys! Like,
Runes, put it down, Runes.
In a freak accident just outside of Overdale.
so,
He was so curious.
so you remember, Poe was telling you about this salesman, and what the salesman was doing is trying to get in good. Irving was trying to get in good with the city, so it's like, hey man, I'm going to donate this item. I could be making a lot of money off this, but you give this to them as sort of a surprise, a happy graduation thing, and they're going to tell you how awesome it is. And I'm going to get. I think he planned on you opening this before you left, so he's probably back there. It's like, fuck, they left. Oh, there was a 17. That was really good too. Like he's going to be, so.
Sorry, Irving.
So you're going to pull out this heavy, almost like a cannonball, like it's a big heavy object, but it's gold. Like it's this shiny gold, and there are two halves to it, and you're gonna pull it out of this little, like it's kind of sitting in this nondescript like wooden box, but when you open it, it's kind of velvet inside, right? So you're gonna pull it out, and it's so meticulously like packaged. It's like Apple made it or something. Like it's so you're gonna take it. It's got a custom charger. It's a real pain in the ass. So you're gonna pull this out and set it aside. And there's
The case is really nice, but you feel guilty
it's
as
like,
fuck because you
man,
know that you're just destroying the
a lot of
environment.
Indonesian children had to work real hard to make this box. So like you don't want to like throw it away. But so you take it out, and there's these little instructions, right? And it says that this emits a powerful one-time blast of radiant light.
Oh no. This cannot. Wait a minute.
This is a panic button. This is a holy shit, things have not worked out. And essentially all you do is twist the two ends till it lines up and just toss it. And the second it hits like an object, like it hits ground or whatever,
That's so
boom, it goes
The
off.
holy hand grenade of Antioch.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Right.
You have,
Alex, you can take this holy water back.
Yeah.
we're gonna strap this to the dog, and we're gonna. The sheep is
off.
gonna take out a
Mark
whole
my
city of
words.
vampires. It's like,
Oh man.
That's nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yay.
Now I'm about to tell you guys how travel's gonna work. This arc.
Okay.
So in the past, I've had you guys roll a d20, and we were kind of left to the fates. But I didn't feel like there was enough nervous tension in that. And I really wanted to bring in some stuff from Cortex, and I'm gonna make Susan roll this one.
Okay.
So here's what we're gonna do. This entire arc, every single group gets to choose the die value that they roll. D4, D6, D8, D10, D12. The catch is, if you roll below half of the value of that die, something bad's going to happen. Of course, a 1 being the worst. A D4, that's not going to be so bad. It's a D4. If you roll the higher end, something good is going to happen. A D4, it's like, we found these old shirts. Like, it's kind of cool. Like, you might be able to use those. But the bigger the die value you choose, a D12, if you roll a 12 on a D12, it's like, holy shit, guys, we found something really cool. It's a second holy hand grenade. Like something really useful, really cool. Of course, a 1 on a D12 nets you something really bad. That being said, Susan.
Okay. I've been debating in my head. I don't want to roll a d20. I don't think I'm going to start us off with possibly the worst thing that could happen right away.
Sure.
So I've been debating if we want to go on like incremental steps up and start from d4, or if I should start in the middle.
Uh-huh. That's a good point.
I
mean,
will say the challenge is kind of tailored to your level. I'm not going to throw dragons at you right now. I want to make that clear. It's the worst thing that could happen in your price range, let's say. It's not,
Okay. So
Push
maybe
it.
I should just do a D10. The middle of the road
Ooh,
could be
Do it.
beefy D10. All right. I like it.
Okay. My luck has been great tonight, though. So
It has been. And then she blue screens.
Oh no!
Oh, no, you're breaking
Okay.
up.
yeah, someone else has to roll by. Okay, I'm gonna go for D10.
Here we go, baby. D10. So we're looking for hopefully a 6 or better, right? A 7.
Let's go!
Yes!
Yeah. Okay.
7.
A 7. So a 7 on a D10 is pretty decent. Obviously, it's not the highest value, but like something good is going to happen. So you guys are settling in for the evening. You've got food cooking. It's almost done. You're going to be eating pretty soon, and you're going to hear wolves, which is not uncommon. It's White Wolf Valley. Like they're in the distance. They're not like next to you grumbling. Like they're out there. So you're gonna kind of gonna get a feel for like it's like okay, yeah, they're it's not really a problem. We got the fire burning, it's probably cool. And then in the midst of those howls, it's gonna be kind of like oh God! And then you're gonna hear this clattering. And pretty close to you, it's gonna sound like someone holding an entire pot and pan set fell down the stairs.
Oh no!
And I would say this is probably like 35, 40 yards away from you. So close enough that you're like, what the fuck? Like that type of thing.
Mhm.
The end.
I
That
think-
was the
And that's a
I mean,
good
do
time
we-
for no.
No. Runes would immediately get up and start moving towards the source of the sound. He would not hesitate or wait
Oh,
for anyone
God.
else.
I
You
think
think a
Tamika
torch
would
or
do the
anything?
same.
Yeah, I guess he would have to. Do I get
No.
dark vision?
No,
Of course
no,
I
no,
don't.
no.
No Therian original.
That's not
Dark
true.
vision.
That's not true. We'll get in.
Do the Pippins get dark
Of course,
vision,
the
Jason?
Pippins get dark vision. They have
Pippins?
such big eyes.
The Pippin. I was like, what does she mean, the Pippin? I'm like, oh,
The Tozath. The Tozath get,
The
they have
Tozath.
so few things going for them.
Okay.
Let them have dark vision.
I mean, honestly,
Fair enough. I
So
appreciate
Runes
that.
grabs a torch and it's like, okay, let's go check this out. Silently, duh. But yeah.
I mean,
Tamika
I think,
too.
yeah.
Right
I think
away.
I would get up. Kanama would get up and then tap Petrichor. Like, come on.
Petra will get up. He'll look immediately at the dog, see what the dog's doing.
Dogs is kind of like, just kind of, like it's like I don't like loud noises, and I was comfy, like that type of thing.
He'll follow
Aw.
along and say, "Come on, let's go."
I like to believe that dog had like stage 5 lolly tongue.
Oh, yeah.
laying on its
Like,
back
totally-
in the snow, like it was having the time
Totally,
of its
like
life.
on its back, it's its own pillow. Like it's awesome. Like so, dog has to get up. It's like fine, coming with you guys. After about like 40 yards, your light is going to start to cast light on a person, and this person is like as you get closer, it's like oh, like that type of thing. And probably I don't want to put words in your guys' mouth, but probably the first thought is like, oh man, like this guy probably got attacked by wolves or something like that. But there's nothing around this person. Like they took a tumble, definitely. And it looks like they may have broken an arm, something like that,
Oh.
because it's bent in a direction that an arm shouldn't bend.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so
So what was the pots and pans sound?
he
Can
is
we
in
see what that
full
was?
plate mail. Full plate mail.
And he
So
broke his
imagine-
arm.
The dude fell. What it looked like if you kind of, it's like you're kind of like, where did you come from? So there's this this rocky ridge, not a mountain, but like definitely kind of a steep climb.
Mm.
And he fell, and he basically, remember when Homer fell down Springfield Gorge? Like,
Yeah.
a little bit of that. Like he's just
Like
he's just laying there,
1/5.
like, oh, yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
I gotta
So-
rewatch The Simpsons, man.
Oh, it's yeah. So he's kind of laying there. It's like, help, please. Like just very like his little like the little faceplate is like kind of like broken on this one side, so it's like he's got one eye kind of cocked. Just
Oh,
So Petrichor motioned to Runes to like come with the light, with the torch, right? And he's gonna bend down
Mhm.
and I got you. All right, what's your name? First thing, what's your name?
it's Terry.
Terry. All right, we got you, Terry. Terry, it looks like you had a little bit of a fall. We're gonna take care of you. Can you feel your feet? Wiggle your toes.
I'm doing it. Can you see it? Full plate mail.
Wearing
Full
metal
plate mail
shoes.
boots
Exactly.
like this.
Yep. So Petrichor's gonna look down. He's gonna look back. Yep, all good. You seem to be fine. Shouldn't be much of a problem. Let's get you back over. Tell you what, we've got a little bit of a campfire down here. He's gonna motion over to Kanan and Tamika, and he's gonna be like, "Why don't we just help you on over? We're gonna help you on over. We're gonna take care of you. Everything okay?" And he's gonna be looking at everybody. He's saying all these words, but he's looking at everybody like this, like, "We good? We good with this? We good with this?"
Kanan will nod and say, yeah. Hey, traveler. And he'll look at that hand that's obviously bent the wrong way. And he says, let me try and take care of that for you real quick, or at least make it so it doesn't hurt as much, because I'm pretty sure that doesn't feel good.
He's
And,
so okay. He's like, what do you mean? And he's gonna look down. And it's like, Maya! Like he like either total shock or whatever. Like he didn't. He's like, I was looking at my toes. Like he's just, just hanging off like that.
Petrichor's going to tap
fucking-
him. Yeah, he's going
Go.
to tap him on the forehead, and he's going to say, hey, everybody, this is Terry. Terry, this is everybody. All right? He's distracting him.
nice
Terry
to meet
Parks,
you, Terry.
hi.
Oh,
Terry.
Terry.
Kanan goes over to the arm, and I'm going to try and apply my healing stuffs.
All right, so guys, this is our first like roll in Cortex. This is our first like
It would be
Thing.
magic.
doing
Magic?
stuff.
Right?
If
What do
you're
you got here?
using healing magic, yeah.
Yeah, I want to use, but it's technically it'd be a magic attack, but it would be, I guess, enchantment or control, because the others are attack, sensory, movement, defense.
Well, this would be one of your basic skills too. Like you're trying to. This is outside of combat, so you're trying to. Yeah. So you're
Which
not.
one would
you're not
heal?
attacking. That's very important.
Yeah. Which one would help first? Then? Expert?
The
Or
exert
exert.
is more like pushing, pulling, stuff
Physical,
like that.
yeah,
Like, what are you
yeah.
trained in? Let's see.
I'm trained in alchemy, balance, detect, deceive, insight, improvise, leap, lore, streetwise, sneak, search, scare, run, and pressure.
Okay. So it doesn't look like you're trained in like healing per se, like for outside of combat, which is fine. Oh, hold on one second.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Which one would it be? If I was, which
I don't think that's
It's not a
healing
straight
skill,
up healing.
Jason.
No,
there's no medicine either. So maybe I guess you know what? If I can stretch it, alchemy of some kind. Like maybe I have.
Could be
Like,
improvise. You got-
It's
it could be improvised.
So I always
Uh,
so improvise and exert cover a lot in our thing, because like there's so many things that like, okay, you're in a situation right now, it's like it's not like you got a medical tent or something like that, so
mhm.
you can kind of take stuff you have and like, okay, let's take this stick and bandage. So like improvise is probably the closest thing we have in this situation, because
Okay.
you're not, so
Yeah, and I was thinking of making a splint. Essentially, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay, cool. So my improvise, if the green was a D6, the yellow one is a D8, I assume,
Mhm.
on the new sheets, right?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So D8 plus my class, which is always a D8, from what I remember.
Yep.
Cool. And then that's it. No other cool extra thingamajigs for me.
Your attribute.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. This would be your savvy.
my savvy. Oh good, it's another D8.
There you go.
Look at that. Here we go. Oh, nice.
Oh, baby. So I'm gonna roll a difficulty, but it's kind of like, it's kind of foregone that you've pretty much done this. So this is
Oh yeah,
this is like a no, you're fine.
What the-
I'd like you to roll first before, yeah. So, okay, so it's a 10. So you're gonna beat that, and then have a D8 left over. So this is like you've set this now. Like you've definitely, it's gonna be painful, right? Like it's gonna be one of those things. I don't know if you yank on his arm like before taking him out of that plate armor or like whatever, but
I probably was careful when like I opened the plate armor. Like I unhooked the bracer first, very carefully lifting up the arm, kind of depending on his shock to, and the distraction by Petrichor to not bring his attention to this.
just like
And then
tapping
once
this
it's
way.
out, and once it's out,
Petrichor is doing whatever he can to just it's just nonsense chatting.
Just full blown
it's
jingle
happening
keys right now. Like
Yeah, basically.
yeah.
and then I put the little like maybe a stick from nearby, get some cloth out of my pack, and just wrap it around and make it a splint or a brace of some kind. And I tell him, hey, try to move this as much as possible. Try to keep it close to your chest until we get back to the camp. Very interesting how you only broke your arm. That's pretty good considering you fell from, and he points up to the ridge. Up there in all this. Lucky you didn't break your neck.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty lucky. Oh man, I owe you guys big. I didn't think I'm real scared of wolves. And
Tamika puts her hands over her ears.
I didn't know there'd be so many wolves here. I thought that this was
Where are we exactly? Why wolf? Where are we exactly? Okay.
Hero's
Yeah.
March, if I'm not mistaken.
You might be mistaken, kid.
Yeah. We're in a wolf valley, so there's going to be wolves here. Terry, do you like food?
Yeah, but wait,
We got
okay,
some
hold
food
on.
for you.
Like
Mhm.
he's trying to get to his map like one-handed. It's like, oh no, like I'm way further west than I thought I was.
Yes.
We're not near
Aw.
Esterholt, is what you're saying?
Oh no, Terry. No. I come from I'm from Esterholt, and I can tell you right now, you missed the mark, my friend.
By like a mile or two? Like what direction is it in?
I mean, I don't have the map in front of me, but I assume it's south of where we are by a nice
It's-
margin.
So from where you are to where that is, he's off by like 150 miles.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, so knowing this,
Runes is going to be looking over his shoulder at the map, and he's going to point to White Wolf Valley because he can read, like he knows. And then he's going to drag his finger down to Esterholt. Just to make it very clear, like, this is how far away.
yeah.
little indent in the map. Just oh no, that's real far.
Yeah, look, let's get back to the camp where there's no wolves, and get you warmed up, get you some food, and you can tell us all about how you seemingly got here, and walked, I'm assuming, in full plate armor.
No, I caught a ride. I thought they never told me that we were close. I thought they were going to stop when we were close, and I guess we just didn't, and we kept going. I guess I should ask more questions. I was wondering why they charged me so much.
Okay.
Hey,
This is an Uber. This is an Uber. This is what
yeah,
this is.
that's what. Oh, I know a shortcut, and then
Yeah.
well, here's Guys, here,
Terry.
hold on. I'm like he's trying to reach into his right hand pouch on his, but he's using his left because his right one's broken, and he's trying to. Could you reach in to get my wallet? Like just kind of
Yeah,
like just,
sure.
oh, take out 25 gold for yourselves. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
no,
I really
no.
appreciate. No.
Terry,
It's,
Terry,
look,
Terry, Terry.
Look, I'm not. Look, I'm really well off. I'm fine. Everything's great. I've been told I shouldn't say that to people when I'm alone. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not that well off. I am doing. I'm living comfortably.
Kenan
Not.
puts
I mean, the broken
puts
arm
his,
sucks, but other than that, comfortably.
Kenan puts the pouch back in Terry's hand and pushes it, like his good hand, and slowly, gently pushes it to her chest. Look, don't worry about that. Let's just get you to the camp, get you warmed up. Relax for a second. It seems like you're either still in shock or your nerves are fried right now, but you got to sit down for a second. So come on.
So you're gonna get back to the thing. You're gonna find out that that's just how he talks eventually. Like it's not. That's not shot. He's just kind of like a. Do you know that feeling? It's like, okay, you go out to the kitchen, you get a drink of water, and there was something else you're supposed to do, and you're like, That's Terry all the time. All the time. That is Terry Parks.
Aw.
There is always one thing he forgot to do,
Terry.
and he's trying to like,
get off
yeah,
the cart.
you know what? They didn't go by the city, so like he's just sitting there, just like bobbing back and forth on the back of this, like. They'll tell me when we get there, I guess. Like it's been like a week, but like okie doke.
Oh god.
100 gold. Oh, okay, but like just yeah.
I say we get him a nice bowl of the ration and vegetable stew we got cooking in the camp, which is beautifully garnished, I assume, by Petrichor.
Oh,
no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Petrichor's also going to reach into one of the saddlebags that is not currently on the dog, but one of the saddlebags that would normally be on the dog. He's going to pull out a little flask. And he's just going to hand it over to Terry while all this is happening. Just take a little nip.
I thought you were like the holy water. Like I keep going back to that. Like it's
Nope.
yeah,
just checking.
Well, I mean, the dry blood and the broken arm, I'm pretty sure, are indicators.
yeah.
that
No,
he
if
is
he's a vampire, he's not a good one. Like,
It could be a demon.
he tries to reach for his right hit. He just forgot that. Like it's like oh yeah. So like he's gonna grab. And, oh man, I really appreciate it, you guys. Are we near a major city that I could go maybe try to get another ride from?
We're not that far from Overdale, and Kenan looks at him again, kind of just giving him an ocular pat down. I think you need to rest for a little bit. Don't think too much about where you're going to go just yet. I mean, let's slow down here. You're going to Esserholt. You paid for a ride. Through unknown circumstances, and I'm obviously being like super sarcastic. Unknown circumstances, it didn't get there. It brought you here. Don't really want to get into your business, but it's kind of tough getting across the mainland these days. Going by cart, not a bad idea, but I mean, you didn't think at any point to ask him how long the trip would be, or are we there yet, or anything like that?
They didn't talk that much. When we went through the mountains, I started getting a little suspicious, and then the weather completely changed, and then I saw a bunch of stuff I never recognized, but I was like, man, this has got to be it's seasonal, right? Like it's, the leaves change color, and then it's a valley now.
Yeah. Well, I look at the group for a second and kind of just read everyone's face. I assume we're all we have that like flabbergasted look on our faces, I assume, if we can express that. I don't know how runes would express it, but yeah.
He can't. He literally has an unreadable face. The only way he can talk is through his hands.
Maybe. Yeah, flabberstoic.
He's
got eyes like laser pointers. Like it's very like
the green ones too.
just incredibly disconcerting. Like the fact that he didn't scream when I came out of the darkness with a light.
That could be the shock. That could be.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's probably like, oh, you're not a wolf. Thank God. Like that's.
And then Tamika comes out
Yeah.
4 foot tall, like.
Tamika has her hood up, by the way.
Okay. Good to know.
Aw. And Runes is not planning on eating anymore.
That's
until after
fine.
everyone goes
That
to
makes
bed,
sense.
probably.
Kanan would continue. Look, we can't go back with you to Overdale, but how about this? We're headed to Dern Hollow. We're on our way there. It's another city that's not too far, I don't think. It's still a little bit of ways, but closer than Esterholt. Come with us so we at least know you're okay since you got this broken arm, and we can't have someone with broken arm traveling along that road by themselves. Besides, as a great tree man once told me, the more the merrier when it comes to people and plants. And he'll look at Petrichor.
Petrichor will say, it wasn't. Wait, sure, close enough. Close enough.
There was something about
Right.
the
mushrooms.
elegance and
No, that's about translation.
Well, is it real far out of the way? Because the Cordians are going to be real mad. I kind of had an appointment to train with them after the Big Bang thing, and they agreed to take me on, but I might have blown that because I didn't show up for a week.
Cordians, the paladins. Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, in Esterholt. After
Yeah, I know.
the thing in the mountains, like they're taking on new people.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty strict when it comes to appointments, so I think by you getting on that cart and them taking you this far, you're probably already going to be late regardless. But, tell you what, we get to Dern Hollow, I'll send a message via, whatever birds they got at the aviary there, if Dern Hollow has an aviary. To let them know that perhaps you helped a group of travelers fight off some wolves and got sidetracked by doing a good deed.
Well, that could work. That's good. Do you want me to pay you for that lie?
No. No, there's no payment necessary. But I'll tell you
Again,
what,
I'm pretty well off. Like, it's not gonna hurt me to pay you money.
there's
You might
something
wanna
else that...
stop saying things like that. By the way,
Yeah. Kanan will nod when Petrichor says this and point, like...
My hip hurts from walking all of this cash. All of this cash, everyone. So much money. Broken
I have to
arm.
limp. Yeah, help me.
My only weakness is knives. Like this.
I think after Petrichor basically tells him, "Hey, stop saying that," Kanan will point and nod and then say, "What I think you can do for us is something a little bit more valuable than money. It's called word of mouth. You see, we're part of this new thing that Overdale's trying to help the world, essentially, or to help the mainland so far. I think it'd be in everyone's benefit if, when we write this letter and send it to the Cordians, that you also mention that, there was another group doing good in the land or in the area, another group that you recognize because of the White Raven on their gear." He's going to point to his now leather armor that he's wearing over the robe. It's like this brown, pretty standard issue thing, and it has the White Raven on the breastplate, and he taps to it.
Yeah, I mean, I could do that. They're pretty obsessed with the pilgrimage right now, but I'm sure that they'll be pretty stoked that someone else is out there and doing stuff.
Good. I think that would be payment enough.
There will be some clickety clacks, and a blue rock will be passed to Terry, and it says, "Please explain."
But so okay.
I'm going out of my way not to explain why he's doing certain things, because if it doesn't make sense to the characters,
Right,
that's
no,
fine.
and I okay. Terry's not great at reading.
Oh no, Terry,
So
come
when
on.
people hand him things like bills, he just hands over money, like money. So he's like, "Will this cover it?" It's like, "Yeah." Like you know what I mean? I'm gonna hand you a weight, basically. Like he's gonna, so he's gonna look and then look at runes. Uh-huh.
Rune's just gonna keep staring at him.
He's gonna, after a while, like the and the smile didn't do it, so he's gonna kind of like kind of elbow Kanan and then wince because he did it with his fucking stupid broken arm.
Oh my god.
Yeah, my teammate Runes here wants you to explain what this pilgrimage is, if I'm assuming correctly.
Runes will nod.
Yeah, I mean it's all anybody's talking about in Heroes March, Hunter's Bounty, that whole area, the big bang thing in the mountains and Blistering Peaks, the big temple that appeared, and all these new gods apparently live there, and the Cordians are making a pilgrimage up there. They're pretty pissed because the way it was described to them is Cord is dead and some new is like a whole new. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like he does, like it's not eloquent.
But they will not change the branding.
They pretty much dedicated a lot of their lives to this thing, and my application was rejected several times, and then I bought them a new wing of their training facility, and then, man, luck would have it, I got in that year. Like, this is the year, and I'm gonna miss my big break by missing it.
I see.
He does not put it together. Like he just like. I mean, that's just karma, man. You do good things and good things happen. You know.
Yeah, I think you're right, Terry. I think you're absolutely right. Kanana looks at the group like, okay, this all makes 100% sense. Like he just kind of nods.
This equation is adding up now.
Mhm.
Tamika will lean over in front of Terry and go to grab the rock from his hand. I'll just take that back.
That's whenever it goes to a person who's not in the party, we have to clarify that.
Yes,
Yes,
that is a reusable rock. Yeah,
he only has one.
that
Of
would be a
each.
very heavy bag if they're disposable. It's the heaviest game of Scrabble ever, and guys, I think it's a good time for us to stop for the evening, but don't go anywhere because we have a post show that we're doing this arc. So I'm going to be asking you guys some questions because I asked listeners to send some in. So yeah, we're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back. Don't go anywhere, guys. Do you guys want to answer some questions?
Love
do
it.
it.
My God.
Sorry from eating.
Love
Sorry.
to.
No, dude, it's fun. This is the after show. This is look.
You're fine.
The Twitch chat is calming down, or if you're listening to this on a jog, like this is the after party. This is the what? You know what's really gonna suck is when people start dying, and then we have to do these after shows, and then it's us dealing with
Just don't kill us.
Yeah,
I'm
come
not
on.
gonna try. Like
Yeah,
things
because you're gonna do it. That's
happen.
why.
I don't have to try.
It's weird that you
Yeah.
said
Yeah,
when
whoa,
people can
whoa.
die
I'm
instead
saying
of
from
if.
this day forward, like someone's eventually. That's look. You settle in expecting someone to die.
Look, whether it's a character or just someone's going to die.
It's the Luna will be the death of me. And congratulations, Bree. Your character didn't die in the very first session of the new arc.
Congratulations.
That's exactly
Thank you,
why I
thank
didn't
you.
choose to roll the d20 because I was like, I don't want Bree to die the first episode.
And Bruins just explodes. That's the...
That was honestly, okay, so with my last character, I went for like, oh man, I want to do the striker. I want to get in close and like tap and then, get away. Now I'm just a fucking tank.
That's where it's at.
Fucking
Tank is where it's at.
I'm made
I
of
want to
bones.
survive. Like that's.
When I play a lot of League of Legends, I play tank. That for that specific reason, Brie.
So
Yeah.
the way we did
I
this
just want to live.
was I have these are all anonymous questions, right? So if you're in the Twitch chat right now and you hear your question, raise your hand and we'll yell at you in the chat.
Unless you want it to be anonymous still.
Unless you
don't have to.
like there's a couple of real nasty ones. So like, yeah, if you want to be, I'm joking.
Be
It's
brutal.
not, it's not really our list.
How the fuck do you get off?
Yeah,
Yeah.
where do you get off?
Yeah.
I haven't heard the episode yet, but fuck you.
Hey, yo, what
like-
the fuck?
They typed it in the accent. It was weird.
How did they get the hands? Where do they find those emojis?
You stunad.
Sorry, much like your dog will go Mimo food, Molly will push her plate off of the surface it's on and make a huge noise if I don't feed her on time. And I saw it happening,
Perfect.
so I went to go feed
Yeah,
her.
almost like a dick.
No, that's just cats, man. Come on.
Yeah,
First
yeah.
question. This one's like, this is just dipping our toes in the water. It's just a nice question. How are you guys enjoying Cortex so far? How is it different from D&D? Both good and bad in your eyes, basically. Alex, let's go. Mouthful.
No, I talked a lot already. God damn it.
You did. Okay, Jasper.
So Cortex to me was, I had to figure out a new system, and that's hard for me. I don't like change. I don't know about
Sure.
you, but I don't like change. But I had to figure out a new system, and reading what the system was all about, I was like, okay, I get it, I think, but I don't know why. Like
Right.
why you have to do the math you're doing and why you're using the dice the way you're doing it. But we did a couple of practice sessions, we did a couple of things, and I can only learn if I do something a few times. Now it makes complete sense. So it basically simplifies absolutely everything. I really enjoy the fact that Cortex is what is, I guess, is the underpinning for the story, if that makes any sense. So anything that has to happen that is not simply just talking about things,
Yeah.
it gives a very simple structure for everything to work. And I love that without us having to bog every conversation down or every fight down or every complication or challenge down. I don't know. I love it. I think it's great.
When we've practiced Cortex battles so far, and I don't say this lightly because I'm someone who doesn't really like the battle parts of any fantasy, save like Lord of the Rings, because that's awesome. But like when I get to it in books, I skip those paragraphs. It's like, okay, well, who died though? That kind of thing. I thought that with D&D 5e, that was so strict that like, oh, this makes sense. And it kind of does, but in a chess sort of way. Whereas when we played combat in Cortex, I could actually kind of picture it. Like it felt just more substantial somehow. It felt more...
It's almost like a Marvel cinema fight sometimes,
Battle-like.
where like there's a give and take. Even if you're attacking, you may not be the one who ends up attacking at the end of that attack. Like there's stuff going on constantly, and it's neat.
Yeah. And because there's so much narrative around it, because we're not just reading spells out loud. Like, we have to describe what we're trying to do, and in doing that, I think it creates much more of a realistic, especially with spells, instead of being like, Mortimer's giant plate, it's like, my character is going
There's
to...
a lot more
blank,
intention
blank, blank, blank.
that comes across. Now, I know there's intention as you're
Yeah.
playing D&D and 5e and all sorts of, any edition. It's all theater of the
Right.
mind, but the Cortex sort of primes you for, Cortex Prime, for intention for what you're doing. And you really have to put that in there so that it makes sense for the roles. And I like that up front.
And
Right.
I feel like with D&D, you have to pause to do rules. Like you have to like step back out of play mode, out of story mode, and be like, okay, now what do I do? Whereas Cortex, it's like, I want this amazing description of things to happen, and that is part of the story, instead of step back, look at this piece of paper, go, okay, roll dice, okay, well, let's add in the buffs and the, I got this extra thing, and
And it's
Right.
again. No, I was
And
just gonna
not
say
to,
not to like crap on D&D because
Sorry.
I like D&D.
yes.
We've always said that, like, okay, the combat and the rest of the game are two different games. So, like, when we're in
Mhm.
combat in Cortex, it
Right.
feels like there's like an action and reaction type of thing. Whereas, if I saw one more fucking wall spell in D&D, I was just, it's like it's a 40-foot high wall with a blow. It's like,
that's-
like I gotta be fucking good at carpentry before I can like.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was going to get to, is not to like spoil what Tamika's whole thing is, or
Close. There you go.
Kanon.
Kanon.
It's Kinyin.
Kanon.
Quinoa.
There's not
Wow.
even one apostrophe
Don't.
in this name.
We can't have another spelling
Oh my
merit
God.
wrong situation. I need to get it
Ugh,
right
still
early.
traumatized.
Kanon. Like both of you guys, when it comes to spells, again, this is mostly magic users, it's so personalized to the character that combat, both for fighters, because I felt this with Petrichor, well, Petrichor magic and fighting, but you know what I mean, and Runes, who is just melee, it all felt personal to the character. It felt like, oh, this character is doing that because this character is this way, instead of this character is doing that because it's the spell they chose. And, you know, you try to choose spells that make sense for the character, but, like,
Yeah.
you can only do so much, right? Like, Jadzia had a bunch of spells that didn't really fit her. It was just what was available in the spell book. And I think Cortex leaves so much more room open to, like, make every character feel different when it comes to their magic
For
and
sure.
their fighting. Not to go
I-
on too
it's-
long about that, but I just really, I like anything
It's a
that adds
huge
more
change,
character.
and like I'm almost sad we didn't get into a fight for sure. Like I don't like it didn't fit the story, so don't.
We can
but,
kill
like,
Terry if you want us to. We can kill Terry.
Whoa!
Let's
Terry
do it.
Didn't do nothing to nobody.
We don't know that.
That dog will go right
No.
for his throat.
Then there's like blood all in its blue flick, just like it's just stink.
Rolly tongue, but like dripping blood.
You know what? One more question because we're going. You know, usually I 5 was probably lofty, a lofty goal. Okay, this is a weird one, but I like it. What would your last meal be?
Oh.
Yeah,
Like me as a person?
don't think about the
Ooh.
why. Just think about.
Yeah.
No. Is it bad that I have a really
No,
like, I
that
knew
means you know what you're
immediately and I
about.
knew
What
that
is it?
I was right. Okay. A full small Papa John's pizza with light sauce and
You
double
could have
pineapple.
anything you want. You went
Respect.
with Papa John's.
I
She knows
know.
who she is.
I know.
That's just the
I'm
first thing came in her
ashamed of
mind.
me
You can't blame her
too.
for that. Come on.
No,
And then I immediately went, no, I'm not going to top that. Maybe a lobster
Oh, yeah.
roll. Maybe like a good
Mine was
lobster
definitely
roll,
going to be.
but, like,
So a long time ago, another life for Alex. I went to this restaurant for my 22nd or 23rd birthday, and it's the restaurant that only had 5 seats, and you had to reserve like months in advance. Luckily, obviously, I didn't do any of this.
Whoa.
It was the person I was with reserved it,
Sure.
and I had something I have not had since then. It was basically lobster, right? With some pasta around it, and had black truffle shavings over it. And I had never had truffle before. It's my first time having it.
So good.
And
damn.
yeah,
Hey, Alex, can I ask you something?
it's
a
hard to
truffle
describe.
taste
For
like?
me, it's like
I have no idea.
my mouth is watering thinking about it, and I can't remember what it tastes like because I haven't had it in so long. But like,
Because I'm so poor, I just don't
well,
remember.
it's expensive. Yeah, so these things are expensive. First of all, so think of it.
Yeah.
I relate it closer to like the same family as mushrooms. I'm probably way off, way wrong.
It is a mushroom.
Oh, thank God. Okay, good.
You're not
But,
way
like,
off.
I'm just waiting for the chat to catch up.
I was waiting. I was looking at Jasper. I was like, Jasper's gonna come in here and be like, well, actually, or be nice about it and tell me later
I will
on.
Not do that.
Okay, thank you.
Jasper's super nice. He's told me.
I just
No,
always
no,
imagine
it
they
tastes.
taste
It's like
dirt.
it's like this nice. It's
That's all I know about him. Is like, oh, the
yeah,
truffle
but
comes out of the dirt
it's
because
this
of pigs.
amazing
Like,
like
that's
Lots
all I know
of
about
things come out of the
truffles.
dirt, though.
I
that,
wouldn't say
like,
buttery,
Lots of things
but
come out of pigs too.
yeah, snouts and intestines. I guess flaky, almost like not spongy, but like flaky,
Oh,
soft. It was good. It was good. It's like
flaky.
it was really
mushroom.
good,
That
and I would
sounds
have that. I would have
delicious.
the lobster with the black truffle shavings over the pasta, and also the guy, the head, basically the head chef or whatever that restaurant came out and did the shavings on top of the food.
There's only 5 people. You better come out. Like, just fuck.
And he said, as he's doing it, he said, "I can't believe." And it's this old Asian man, but he's got this very like well put together suit, and he's shaving it. And he says, "I can't believe this thing cost me $300." As he's shaving it, and I'm like, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "Yeah, this." And he stops, and he's like, "Yeah, this thing." Because before when he came out, it came in a box. It was in a
Damn.
fucking wooden box, and I remember thinking
Oh
like,
my God.
I'm never gonna eat anything that's better than this ever in my life again.
Oh,
Like,
He's like, don't worry, I'm charging you more. I'm making up
yeah,
for it.
yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
And to this
Yeah. You are getting shavings
to this
of
day,
and I promise
to
we are
this
charging you
day,
more
I do
than
not know how much
$300
that meal
tonight.
cost that night.
A lot.
It was a lot.
You
It's
never
one of
looked it
those-
up? You never got
Good.
curious? You never like...
I didn't know because I mean at the time, the person I was in a relationship with at the time,
Sure.
she had just come into money because she had just gotten hired as like a designer for the company where she was starting off as an office administrator. So she kind of did the work her way up. And so she was like, we're going to go all out. It was like the first paycheck she got from the new job. We're going to go all out. And it was my birthday. So, hey, hats off. Thanks for that. That was a good memory. Yeah.
Aw.
So I
That
have
would
to
make
top
me
it
so
somehow.
uncomfortable.
I
Be
mean,
like, well, let's put it in savings, maybe.
The
like,
worst-
Just,
not to
Just
not to
to-
monopolize
Yeah,
it, but
is
like
too high for us.
I wasn't dressed for that place either. Like because she tricked me. Well, you know, it was a secret. You know, like oh, we're gonna go somewhere, and I'm in there
Yeah,
with
but,
like
even if you were told in
Right.
advance, you'd have to rent clothes for that kind of fucking place. Like, I don't.
I would have to probably rent a
truffle
shirt.
clothing.
Yeah, because I had slacks.
Yeah.
Because I think
don't
at the
have
time
truffle.
I was working. I was a traveling salesman, so I had like biz cash clothing. You know. But anyways,
Got it.
lobster, truffle, shavings, pasta.
Mhm.
Susan.
Man, you guys are all gonna make me look really bad because
Oh,
I know
not
Jasper's
really.
gonna come out with
Yeah.
something.
It's gonna be like a
And I'm
can
like,
of chili.
lovely.
Like he's
I
gonna
will
be like
apologize.
real. He just...
Actually, it might just be cheese curds. I'm
don't
going money on
eat.
cheese
Here's the thing:
curds.
if you go eat with Jasper when it's vacation time, it might be your last meal. So just get ready. Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Oh no.
All right, Susan. Sorry, I
Um,
didn't mean to interrupt.
Mine's gonna be real different. So my mom makes two things every year for the family, or she did when I lived with her. Two big things that you loved. It was stuffed peppers, which most of they're really good, and then corned beef and cabbage and potatoes. And I seriously, even when I was like a little kid, it's like a 4-pound thing of meat. I could eat the whole thing of corned beef. I promise you, you could put one in front of me right now. I eat it all. I could. So corned beef, cabbage, and potatoes. It's so good. I love it. I could
Save
eat
that
it
for
forever.
Patreon content. We'll just.
Yeah, right.
That's the
Oh,
corned
and-
beef tier. That's the. Yeah.
Susan mukbang.
Oh, and a
Corned
side
beef
of fried chicken
mukbang,
just
let's
because it's my
go.
last meal and I love fried chicken.
Hell yeah.
Damn.
Oh,
So there we
Jasper?
go. That's me.
Just suck down a can of cream of mushroom soup, and I'm good. No, I'm kidding. But
Don't even heat it up. Just
no,
like,
no, just right off the
Oh.
shelf.
Chunky man soup.
just the cold. Make sure your
Oh,
tongue touches it so
yeah.
you get the metal taste
No,
too. While it's going down.
If I were to have to be gone tomorrow, if there was a meteor coming or something
don't
like
think about
that,
the
it's-
why. Don't
No,
think
I'm
about
just
the
saying,
why.
like it's like you got to just
Mhm.
do something now. You don't have time to figure it out.
Sure.
It would be Indian food. I honestly, I would just get a couple of different curries, some naan, some rice, and I would just stuff myself.
Nice.
It is the strangest and weirdest comfort food that I've found in my life, somehow becoming comfort food. But it is
Mm.
When you got there, was it just like I'm going to try this, or was it something? It was a holdover from like San Francisco? Because I don't think you got like good curry in the South. I don't think.
There's not great curry. There's a couple of
In
places
the Carolinas, I doubt.
No,
that
not
there's
at all. And San Francisco's not. There's a
It
couple
is now,
places
but I don't think it was back when you were there.
Okay.
No,
Because now it's got there's a lot more restaurants. It's a
The
little
best place was in the Tenderloin, and I remember it, and it was fine.
See, now there's more. Now you don't have to go to the TL. You can go to
That
like
would be
the Mission.
amazing.
There's Indian food in the Mission now, which is crazy because that's like Mexican town. So you get all the Latino food.
So I lived in the UK. I lived in Cambridge for several years, and if you want a good British curry, like an Indian curry, that's good stuff. And I found that here in New York, so I'm happy.
Of course, I mean New York is like the mecca of every food.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Papa John's.
yeah, just Papa John. I think
John's.
better ingredients, better racism. I think like it's
Well, he's not there anymore, dude.
They're crushed.
He got
I know,
fired.
but
Okay, no,
It's
he
like-
got fired. He got
Look.
fired. Okay.
Yeah,
Look,
they're
now he
very
makes
it's
strange.
like
TikToks.
Jello and Cosby and Jared and Subway. I can't disentangle them.
Fair.
That's valid, but their
I'm with
crust
Bree.
is so.
I'm with Bree on this.
thick and
So is
I'm
the
a Papa
racism.
John's.
It's
You're-
thick.
It's perfect.
Like it's
It's-
real. Like
No,
Chewy.
So-
sometimes you got to separate the art from the artist. You know.
Yeah.
it's hard.
And look, they're one of the few pizza places that store their
Thank you.
pineapple away
Hello.
from their fucking onions.
They don't.
I don't know why everyone thinks
Yeah,
those
go in
go
the trash.
together, but they
No.
don't.
That's
It's all garbage.
the worst thing in the world is having you and Ian here because then I'm partially outvoted about this pineapple
Hell yeah.
situation. So you're not allowed to come here anymore.
What's your
And here's the thing: right now, this is plain, right? And
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure, 100%,
Yeah, no.
100%.
If they ever stopped fighting about
Oh,
it,
we'll be
the
fighting about
second
that.
I
You
We're
know
gonna
that
fight
there's a
about
poll in the
I bet.
chat, right?
Mhm.
Right now.
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's absolutely a poll. Like yeah.
right now.
So-
And one of us probably started it.
I would definitely get pizza, like East
Hell yeah.
Coast, like a nice, like I'm thinking like
Papa John's.
like a nice South Jersey Italian sausage, pepperoni bacon situation. Maybe, oh man, maybe a New York slice you can fold. Maybe just something. Just I miss. So I have thought about taking a trip back to the East Coast.
Not right now.
Not right
Don't
now.
do it right now.
No.
We've got we got a room down here next to my office.
One day, when the world is
Come on over.
back in
Aw.
business. But yeah,
I want to feel your nice
Yes.
warm dog, all warm from the
Just
hand
like
warmers.
that, and just like custard, East Coast.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
soft serve custard. They don't.
Ooh.
Yeah, they don't have that
Think
here.
about my
Yeah, I
Just a
didn't think of
big
dessert.
glass of like Mad
Well.
Dog 2020. Just a big, just like a
There's
pitcher.
That
Exactly.
way you can
Like,
forget
There's
that it's
a-
your last meal. And
There's a
really
custard
enjoy
place.
It.
It's a chain. Rita's frozen custard. You can get that in Cal. Well, I don't know about up where
There
you guys
was-
are.
But there was one here, but like the signs all smashed and shit.
No,
'cause,
yeah,
you
you
know,
don't do that.
we live in Crime Alley, and
The Narrows in Gotham.
it's
Mhm.
fucking, it's bad. Guys, that's it. I think we're done.
Yay.
Thank you all so much. Obviously, Jasper's going to be doing our outro and letting you know
course.
where you can find us and support us. But just thank you for tagging along and just helping us out. We really want to spread the word of the show this year, and I will turn you all over to Jasper.
Thank you for listening to the craziness and the weirdness that Dungeons and Randomness is. And thank you for joining Arc 5, which is amazing. Please check us out on all the different places, all the social media, all the Twitters, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, as we've talked about. Definitely check out their Patreon, patreon.com/DANDR, and get on our Discord. You can find the link on the website and on Patreon. And honestly, you've got to watch our episodes live, or not live, but streaming on Twitch on Saturdays before everything is released out on Sundays. And please come back every single week. Thanks.
Yeah, we did
We did
it.
it!
Also, I need to apologize if I didn't seem. I was listening and I was playing, but the last 2 minutes were the DoorDash guy basically saying, "Hey, food's here," and I'm like, "Okay, stand in front of the door so I can buzz you in." And he's like, "Food's here," and I'm like, "What part of that?" Also, looking at what Sam is, she's separating our food now. I ordered 2 sodas.
Uh-oh.
They gave us 4.
Oh!
It should be the same thing. They should be the same thing, right? Okay, because if he gave us somebody else's order, he might come back. Check the receipt.
Dumb
Santa,
dash.
say hi.
Oh, they come with
Hello, say
sodas.
Oh!
Oh.
Well, now you get extra soda!
Yeah, I
Sodas
paid for
for
2 extra. Also, everyone says hi, Sam.
Hell yeah.
Brianna
Hi,
says hi.
Sam.
Jason says hi. Susan says hi. Jasper didn't say hi or anything.
I didn't
He's
say it because I
rude.
don't know Sam at all. I have
doesn't
no
know
idea
you,
who
that's why
Sam
he
is.
said.
But hey, Sam.
Sam is my
Sam is the
girlfriend.
voice that Alex
met
puts
Sam,
on
I
when he
know.
wants us to think he lives with someone.
Yes, she's not real. It's chicken kebab or beef. Yeah, beef kebab. Sorry about that. Sorry. That's
This is
fine.
all in the
That's
after
fine.
show,
Good
right?
enough.
We started the after show.
There should be some.
I'm so happy.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Really,
The new
really
system's
well.
great.
Yep.
We barely played it, but like
Yeah, it's
it's
true.
there. We
Yeah.
I know.
And
It-
that's
It
the
recedes
point,
in the
right?
background,
Like
yeah.
Yeah.
that's what we said.
we recorded an episode.
Also, I love how Terry's like, I don't know why I finally got in. Fucking had to buy him a wing.
Harry,
Finally made it.
he's not.
so
He's
stupid.
he's not stupid. He's not.
It's oblivious. Yeah,
He's-
he's
He's a
oblivious.
himbo.
Yeah.
Look,
He is a himbo.
let's not
You have
slap
made a
labels
himbo.
on. He's not world weary. He's not a savvy guy. His savvy way low.
Thank you.
He's a naive
His
baby.
intelligence isn't very high either. But like,
You know, between him and Theo, I think you have a kink for putting dumb boys into full armor.